Part 1. The Journey Begins. Alan was a young boy who lived in a small village surrounded by tall mountains. The village was always covered in thick fog, and the people lived by farming and hunting. But recently, the crops had started to wither, and the animals had become restless. The elders of the village said it was a sign that the shadow of darkness was coming. One night, Alan was walking in the forest near the village. He saw a strange blue light coming from behind a tree. When he got closer, he found a small, glowing stone. It was blue and sparkled like the stars in the sky. Alan picked it up, and as soon as he touched it, a bright light flashed. In his mind, he saw a map, a path leading to a place called the Sea of Stars. The next morning, Alan went to the village elder and told him about the stone and the map. The elder's eyes widened. "The Sea of Stars is a legend," he said. "It is said to be a place of pure light that can cleanse the darkness. But no one has ever found it." Alan knew what he had to do. He decided to leave the village and find the Sea of Stars. His parents were worried, but they also knew it was the only hope for the village. Before he left, his mother gave him a small charm for protection, and his father handed him an old dagger. "Be careful, Alan," his father said. "The world outside is dangerous, but I believe in you." Alan nodded. He packed some food and water, put on his warmest clothes, and set off on his journey. As he walked away from the village, he looked back one last time. The fog was thicker than ever, but Alan felt a spark of hope in his heart. Part 2. New Friends. Alan walked for many days. The path was long and lonely. He missed his village, but he knew he had to keep going. One evening, as the sun was setting, Alan heard a voice. "Help! Someone please help!" Alan ran toward the sound. In a small clearing, he saw a girl about his age. She was trapped under a fallen tree branch. Alan quickly grabbed the branch and lifted it. The girl stood up and brushed off her clothes.
"Thank you," she said.
"My name is Lena. I was gathering herbs when the branch fell." Alan introduced himself and told Lena about his journey to the Sea of Stars. Lena's eyes lit up. "I've heard stories about the Sea of Stars," she said. "My village is also suffering from the darkness. Maybe I can help you." Alan was happy to have a companion. Lena knew a lot about plants and magic, and she had a small bag of herbs that could heal wounds. Together, they continued their journey. A few days later, they met a tall, strong man named Carl. He was sitting by a campfire, sharpening his sword. When Alan and Lena approached, Carl stood up and looked at them carefully.
"Who are you?" he asked.
Alan explained their mission. Carl listened quietly, then nodded. "My family once guarded the secrets of the Sea of Stars," he said. "But the darkness took everything from me. I will join you." With Carl's strength and fighting skills, the group felt stronger. They traveled through dense forests and across wide rivers. One night, as they were setting up camp, they heard a soft meow. "Who's there?"
Lena asked.
Out of the shadows came a small creature. It looked like a cat, but it had tiny wings on its back. The creature spoke in a high-pitched voice. "Hello, my name is Star. I can guide you to the Sea of Stars." Alan was surprised. "You can talk." Star nodded. "I am a creature of the stars. I was sent to help you." With Star's guidance, the group felt more confident. They knew the journey would be dangerous, but they were ready to face it together. Part 3. The Trials. The journey to the Sea of Stars was not easy. Alan and his friends faced many challenges along the way. The first trial came in the form of the Misty Forest. The Misty Forest was a place where the fog was so thick that it was hard to see even a few steps ahead. Strange sounds echoed through the trees, and the air felt heavy. Star flew ahead, trying to guide them, but even he seemed confused. "We need to stay together," Carl said. "If we get separated, we might never find each other again." As they walked deeper into the forest, the fog seemed to play tricks on them. Alan thought he saw shadows moving, and Lena swore she heard someone calling her name. But every time they turned to look, there was nothing there. "Don't listen to the forest," Star warned. "It feeds on your fears. Focus on the light inside you." Alan closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He thought about his village, his family, and the hope that drove him forward. When he opened his eyes, the fog seemed a little thinner. Step by step, they made their way through the forest, relying on their inner strength to guide them. After the misty forest, they reached a vast desert. The sun was scorching, and the sand seemed to stretch endlessly. But the real danger was not the heat, it was the illusions. As they walked, they began to see things that weren't there. Alan thought he saw an oasis with cool water, but when he ran toward it, it disappeared. Lena thought she saw her village burning, and Carl saw his family calling for help. "The desert shows you what you fear most," Star explained. "You must stay strong and remember what is real." Alan held onto the charm his mother had given him. It reminded him of home and gave him the strength to keep going. Lena used her herbs to create a potion that helped clear their minds, and Carl focused on his training, blocking out the illusions. Together, they pushed through the desert, supporting each other when the illusions became too much to bear. The final trial was the Ruins of Secrets, an ancient place filled with crumbling buildings and strange symbols carved into the walls. According to Star, the ruins held clues to the location of the Sea of Stars. But the ruins were also guarded by creatures of darkness, shadowy figures that moved silently and attacked without warning. Carl took the lead, using his sword to protect the group. Lena used her magic to create barriers, and Alan used his dagger to fight off the shadows. As they explored the ruins, they found a large stone tablet with a map etched into it. The map showed a path leading to a glowing star in the middle of the ocean. But before they could celebrate, a deep voice echoed through the ruins. "You dare to seek the Sea of Stars?" the voice said. A tall figure stepped out of the shadows. It was a man, but his eyes glowed with darkness. "I am the guardian of shadows. You will not pass." Alan stepped forward. "We are not afraid of you. We will find the Sea of Stars and bring light back to our world." The guardian laughed. "We shall see." With that, the guardian disappeared, leaving the group to wonder what lay ahead. Part 4. The Truth. After leaving the ruins, Alan and his friends followed the map to the coast. There, they found a small boat waiting for them. The boat seemed to know where to go, as it sailed smoothly across the water without anyone steering it. The journey was calm, and the stars above shone brightly. Finally, they reached their destination. The Sea of Stars was not a sea of water, but a sea of light. In the middle of it was a floating crystal palace, glowing with a soft, blue light. It was the most beautiful thing Alan had ever seen. As they entered the palace, they saw a large, glowing crystal in the center. It was the heart of stars, the source of all light in the world. But something was wrong. The crystal was cracked, and its light was fading. Dark shadows swirled around it, trying to consume it.
"This is bad," Lena said.
If the heart of stars is destroyed, the darkness will take over everything. Suddenly, the guardian of shadows appeared again. This time, he was not alone. Behind him were more shadowy figures, their eyes glowing with malice. "You cannot stop the darkness," the guardian said. "It is the fate of this world." Alan stepped forward. "We won't let you destroy the heart of stars. We will fight for the light." The battle began. Carl fought bravely with his sword, cutting through the shadows. Lena used her magic to create barriers and heal her friends. Alan used his dagger to protect the heart of stars, while Star flew around, distracting the enemies. But the shadows were strong, and the guardian was even stronger. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Alan remembered the blue stone he had found in the forest. He took it out and held it up. The stone began to glow, and a beam of light shot out, hitting the heart of stars. The crystal started to heal. The cracks disappeared, and its light grew brighter. The shadows screamed and retreated, unable to withstand the pure light. The guardian of shadows fell to his knees. How is this possible?" Alan looked at him. "The darkness feeds on fear and despair. But we have hope, and that is stronger than anything." With those words, the guardian disappeared, and the shadows were gone. The heart of stars was fully restored, and its light spread across the world. Part 5. A New Beginning. With the heart of stars restored, the world began to heal. The darkness that had plagued the land slowly faded away. Crops grew again, animals returned to their peaceful ways, and the skies cleared. Alan and his friends knew they had done something incredible. As they stood in the Crystal Palace, Star flew up to Alan and smiled. "You have done well, Alan. The world is safe because of you and your friends." Alan looked at Lena, Carl, and Star. "We did it together," he said. "I couldn't have done it without you." Lena smiled. "This journey has changed us all. I feel stronger now, and I know I can help my village rebuild." Carl nodded. "And I have found a new purpose. I will protect the heart of stars and make sure no one can harm it again." Star flapped his tiny wings. "And I will stay with you, Alan. You are my friend now." Alan felt a warmth in his heart. He knew this was not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter in his life. He had faced his fears, found true friends, and discovered the strength within himself. The group decided to return to their villages and share the good news. As they sailed back across the sea of stars, the water sparkled like diamonds, and the sky was filled with colors they had never seen before. When Alan arrived home, his parents ran to him and hugged him tightly. "We are so proud of you," his mother said, tears in her eyes. The village celebrated for days. The fog was gone, and the sun shone brightly. Alan knew that his journey had not only saved his village, but had also brought hope to the entire world. But Alan also knew that his adventures were far from over. There were still many mysteries to uncover and places to explore. With his friends by his side, he was ready for whatever came next.